I'm going to show you my attempt at building a foot drum kit. I'm recording this in June 2020, and the theme for 2020 has very much been lockdown, and this has been especially hard on people that like to play in bands. We haven't been able to go out to band practice, we haven't been able to play live, and we haven't even been able to go to the music shop to browse for equipment and things. So I've been trying to use my time productively and write some music. Now the kind of music I write is sort of foot stompy blues music. And in the absence of a real drummer, I've been experimenting with different ways of creating percussion with my feet. Now there's a couple of videos I'm going to play of people out there that are already doing a kind of foot percussion thing. And I think you'll enjoy these videos. The first is this guy, Bob Locke. Now this guy is absolutely insane. He uses a variety of different percussions on stage with him. Everything from kick drum pedals to electronic effects to popping balloons in time with the music. Check this out. Now what Bob Locke does is incredible, but it's also quite unique to him, and it's not really something I want to replicate. And also, if you look at what he's doing here, everything he's hitting is just with his toe. I kind of feel like he's missing out, because you can use your toe and your heel to hit percussion. So that brings me on to the next person I'm going to introduce you to. This is a guy called Cam Cole from London. Have a look at this. Now, I'm very privileged to have met Cam Cole. We played a couple of gigs together in London last year, and he uses something called a Farmer foot drum kit. That's an entire acoustic drum kit into a little package built by this company called Farmer in the US. Now, Farmer foot drums are great, but they have a couple of drawbacks. The first is that they are quite bulky. Cam, for example, he has to put his Farmer drum kit into like a flight case and carry that around on a sack burro with his guitar and his amp, and it's a bit much, to be honest. The other disadvantage is that they are relatively loud. I mean, I live in a relatively small flat. I've got neighbours, I've got my wife downstairs, I need to stay on side with people. Having a Farmer foot drum kit upstairs in the office and bashing that all the time is just a little bit too antisocial for my liking. But the other huge drawback of a Farmer foot drum kit is they don't sound very good when you record them. Now, Cam Cole is an amazing live performer, but if you listen to his album, you don't really get that same feeling that you get when you see him live, and I think that's because a Farmer foot drum kit, when you record it, you're essentially recording a very small, compact acoustic drum kit, so it's never going to sound like a big, full-on drum kit played by a real drummer. I'm not saying he's not a real drummer. So it's never going to sound like a big, proper drum kit, because it isn't, and that's a real shame. So I decided that for myself, what I really wanted was like an electronic drum kit version of the Farmer foot drums. So I went onto Google and I typed in things like electronic foot drum kit and stuff like that, and nothing really comes up. This isn't a thing that exists. There's a bunch of different things you can get that kind of simulate maybe just a kick drum, but there's nothing like a full drum kit, like the Farmer foot drum kit, that's electronic. So I decided I was going to have to build this myself. Now, I don't want to brag, but I do actually have a degree in electronics engineering, and I feel like I kind of owe it to my student debts to put that to use. So I went onto YouTube and looked up tutorials of how to build your own electronic drum kit. And there's a bunch of different examples of people making normal electronic drum kits that you hit with sticks and things. But there wasn't really much for people making foot drums or foot percussion electronically until I came across a series by this guy, Andrew Kennedy from Australia. Now, Andrew Kennedy has, for the last 5 years, been building and perfecting and iterating on his own electronic foot drum kit.
Remove the base plates and create my own so that these two pedals can be about that close together. And one foot can operate both. So that's my project.
So I watched this series. I watched it maybe 4 or 5 times over and over again. And I analysed every mistake he'd made and I analysed every success he'd had. And I used Andrew Kennedy's journey as a framework for building my own electronic drum kit. I've done a prototype so far. This is my prototype. And the purpose of this prototype is twofold. Firstly, there's a couple of things that I've deviated from what Andrew Kennedy did that I wanted to test out. I didn't have full confidence in certain aspects, like, for example, the way I've got the sensors on the pedals instead of putting them on the baseboard. Also, playing foot drums is difficult. Playing foot drums and singing and playing guitar is hard. So with my prototype, and now at least I've got something that I can use to practice, so that while I'm building the next version and while I'm iterating, I can also be building up the actual skill of foot drumming, because it's really not easy. My plan for this is to play it and play it and play it, wait to see which parts break, and then improve the designs in those areas. Now, I've done a separate video where I go into a bit more detail about all the elements of my prototype electronic foot drum kit. But for now, here's a quick example of what it would sound like when it's all plugged in.